In the tumultuous realm of international relations, where power, politics, and the pursuit of nuclear ambitions intersect, one clandestine battle has raged for years: Israel's relentless quest to neutralize key figures involved in Iran's covert nuclear program. At the forefront of this covert war stood Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, a brilliant scientist who had become a thorn in the side of Israel's security apparatus. As early as 2004, Israel's foreign intelligence agency, the Mossad, received orders to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. This directive set in motion a campaign of sabotage and cyber attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities, as well as a series of carefully orchestrated assassinations targeting the experts believed to be leading Iran's nuclear weapons program. The Mossad's attention fixated on one man, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, a name that had reverberated through the intelligence circles for over a decade. Convinced that he played a pivotal role in Iran's nuclear aspirations, Israeli officials sought to eliminate him. But their attempts faced countless obstacles, with numerous threats and plots emerging over the years, causing Fakhrizadeh to dismiss them as mere background noise. They would only successfully manage to liquidate him in 2020 utilizing a brand new form of technology: a remote-controlled drone-mounted machine gun ambushing his convoy while the operatives behind the assassination had long since left the country. However, this was not their first attempt. In 2009, the stage was set for another audacious assassination attempt. A hit team eagerly awaited Fakhrizadeh's arrival at the site of a planned operation in Tehran. Yet, in a twist of fate, the mission was aborted at the last moment. The Mossad suspected that the plot had been compromised, with Iran cunningly setting an ambush to capture the assailants. Israel's policy of never allowing their agents to be captured prevailed, and the hit team withdrew. Following this setback, Israel temporarily suspended its campaign of targeted assassinations in 2012. The United States had initiated negotiations with Iran, leading to the signing of the 2015 nuclear agreement. The pause was seen as a diplomatic gesture, a momentary ceasefire in the covert war, as hopes were pinned on diplomatic solutions and containment of Iran's nuclear ambitions. However, the political landscape shifted when Donald Trump assumed the presidency. A staunch opponent of the 2015 nuclear agreement, Trump vowed to reverse his predecessor's policies and reimpose strict constraints on Iran's nuclear program. The ticking clock of time urged Israel to act swiftly, for they believed their window of opportunity was rapidly closing. As the Israeli and American officials strategized behind closed doors, a sense of urgency pervaded their discussions. The specter of a revived nuclear agreement loomed, threatening to unravel their painstaking efforts to thwart Iran's nuclear progress. With each passing day, the chances of launching successful operations against key figures, including Fakhrizadeh, diminished. Time became a formidable adversary for Israel. The need to take decisive action and disrupt Iran's nuclear ambitions intensified. The stage was set for a dangerous game of covert operations, where the consequences were measured in the balance of power, global security, and the lives of those involved. The Israeli strategy of deterrence is a complex tapestry woven from threads of history, culture, and military might. It is a doctrine born of necessity, a response to the relentless threats of annihilation that have shadowed the nation since its birth. It is a doctrine that has been tested and refined in the crucible of conflict, from the conventional wars with neighboring states to the ceaseless skirmishes with terrorist organizations. Shmuel Bar, a senior research fellow at the Institute for Policy and Strategy and veteran of the Israeli intelligence community, discusses Israel's preemptive strike doctrine in a paper published in the journal Comparative Strategy. At the heart of this doctrine is a simple, unyielding principle: Israel cannot afford even the slightest tactical defeat. The nation's strategic depth is limited, its resources finite, and its sensitivity to civilian casualties acute. Thus, Israel's security must rely first and foremost on deterrence, on convincing potential adversaries that any aggression would be met with overwhelming force. This deterrence is not a static concept, but a dynamic and proactive one. It is not enough for Israel to merely possess superior military power. It must demonstrate its willingness to use it. This is achieved through periodic episodes of force, a strategy of preemption that sends a clear message to potential adversaries. Israel will not wait to be attacked. The Israeli doctrine of deterrence is shown in full force in targeting Fakhrizadeh. Iran's nuclear ambitions pose a grave threat to Israel. The Israeli strategy is multifaceted, combining technological superiority, a preemptive strikes against key individuals and locations, and a posture of nuclear ambiguity. The goal is to convince Iran that the cost of pursuing nuclear weapons would far outweigh any potential benefits. Yet, the challenge posed by Iran is unique. Unlike Israel's traditional adversaries, Iran is not a neighbor, but a distant threat. The dynamics of deterring a non-bordering state are inherently different, requiring a delicate balance of diplomacy, intelligence, and military posturing. In this high-stakes game of geopolitical chess, Israel is leveraging all aspects of its deterrence doctrine. It is sending clear signals of its resolve, showcasing its military capabilities and working closely with its allies, particularly the United States. Yet, it is also engaging in a campaign of proactive deterrence, conducting operations designed to disrupt Iran's nuclear program and demonstrate the reach of Israel's long arm. The stakes could not be higher. A nuclear-armed Iran would not only pose an existential threat to Israel, but could also trigger a nuclear arms race in the Middle East, destabilizing the entire region. Israel refuses to accept the spilling of Jewish blood and in such relies on a line from the Talmud as the cornerstone of its defense policy: if someone comes to kill you, rise up and kill first. Through the annals of modern history, Israel's Mossad intelligence agency has weaved its shroud of mystery and silent tenacity. Each operation executed by the Mossad, a clandestine chess game of geopolitical consequence, is a testament to their unwavering commitment to protecting the State of Israel. Reaching back to the nation's founding, Mossad has been at the heart of preemptive operations, targeting those that pose a risk to the nation-state. In the 1960s, as the Cold War casts its long and threatening shadow across the globe, Egypt fueled its aspirations of regional supremacy through an ambitious rocket program. At the program's helm was Heinz Krug, a German scientist bearing a legacy etched in the unforgiving fires of Nazi Germany's rocket initiative during World War II. The Mossad saw in Krug a growing threat, his expertise accelerating Egypt's military aspirations to an uncomfortable pace. The intricate dance of espionage began, culminating in Krug's sudden and inexplicable disappearance in 1962. Whisked away from a Munich suburb, Krug vanished without a trace. The eerie silence that ensued was punctuated by the inevitable destabilization of Egypt's rocket program, a testament to Mossad's unerring precision in neutralizing potential threats. Only years later did an Israeli investigation find that it was likely that Krug had been kidnapped by Mossad agents, interrogated, eliminated, and left buried in the desert. Fast forward to 2022. Dubai's glittering skyline served as the backdrop for yet another of Mossad's meticulously orchestrated operations. The target, Mahmoud al-Mabhouh, a co-founder of the military wing of Hamas and an instrumental figure in the militant organization. The operation was executed with a precision that bordered on the cinematic. Mossad agents slipped unnoticed through the labyrinthine veins of Dubai, expertly evading a dense web of surveillance. Their target was found lifeless in his hotel room, the result of an administered paralyzing drug before being suffocated. A death as silent as the agents who had infiltrated his sanctuary. The shockwaves reverberated across the globe, the brazen operation leaving a trail of diplomatic fallout in its wake. The narrative moves to January 2012 in the bustling heart of Tehran. Mostafa Ahmadi Roshan, a leading figure in Iran's burgeoning nuclear program, became the next target. On the morning of January 11, 2012, a motorcycle pulled up alongside Roshan's Peugeot 405. In a swift, calculated movement, an unseen hand affixed a magnetic bomb to the car. The ensuing explosion claimed Roshan's life, leaving Iran's nuclear ambitions staggered. Although Mossad never publicly claimed responsibility, the nature of the operation carried the signature of their deadly efficiency. Our timeline reached its most recent point on January 3, 2020, on an early Iraqi morning. Soleimani, the formidable commander of Iran's elite Quds force, was traveling from Baghdad airport, when a targeted drone strike utilizing a blade-equipped Hellfire eviscerated the Iranian operative. This operation was an American act, but whispers in the intelligence community suggest that Mossad played a critical role in gathering the intelligence that allowed the strike to occur. Soleimani, a seasoned veteran who had slipped through the fingers of death numerous times, was caught off guard. His elimination, while hailed as a victory by some, escalated tensions in the region to a fever pitch. But it also highlighted that targeting such high-level Iranian operatives would have limited consequences, eventually leading to the Fakhrizadeh operation's greenlighting. These meticulously orchestrated operations, spanning decades and continents, are testaments to the enduring resolve of the Mossad. From preemptive neutralizations to strategic collaborations, the agency has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to safeguarding the State of Israel, a shadowy sentinel in the volatile theater of Middle Eastern geopolitics. In the intricate tapestry of Fakhrizadeh's security apparatus, there existed a specialized unit known as Ansar al-Mahdi. Tasked with safeguarding the esteemed scientist, this elite protection force operated with unwavering dedication and precision. They were the shield that protected the man deemed crucial to Iran's nuclear ambitions. Ansar al-Mahdi was acutely aware of the threat posed by motorcycle attacks, a favored method employed by Israeli operatives in their previous assassinations. They meticulously crafted countermeasures, continuously adapting their tactics to counter this specific threat. Their surveillance was unrelenting, monitoring the streets for any sign of suspicious motorcycle activity. Their vigilance was constant and aggressive. Furthermore, Ansar al-Mahdi maintained a watchful eye on Israeli air assets. They recognized the potential for aerial surveillance, knowing that drones and aircraft could expose vulnerabilities in their security posture. Their thorough monitoring should have allowed them to adjust routes and timings, ensuring Fakhrizadeh's movements remained shrouded in secrecy, shielded from prying eyes. But these measures were eventually abandoned in the face of Fakhrizadeh's disregard, with those protecting him describing him as stubborn. Due to the pushback from Fakhrizadeh, Ansar al-Mahdi's routines had become known, their patterns discernible to those who sought to exploit them. The absence of unpredictable routes and the reliance on familiar paths created a vulnerability that the enemy could exploit. In a startling oversight, the decision-makers overlooked the necessity of a bulletproof car for Fakhrizadeh's protection. This omission, seemingly inconceivable given the magnitude of the threat, exposed a critical flaw in their security plan. The absence of an armored vehicle placed Fakhrizadeh at the mercy of external elements, leaving him exposed to the lethal potential of firearms and explosives. Equally perplexing was Fakhrizadeh's unwavering insistence on driving alone. Despite the repeated warnings and the persistent dangers that lurked, he sought solace in the illusion of autonomy. It was a decision rooted in a sense of invincibility, a refusal to acknowledge the gravity of the threats that had plagued his existence for years. Fatigue, too, played its part in the unraveling of Fakhrizadeh's security. A constant barrage of warnings and near misses can erode even the most resolute defenses. The weariness from previous alarms, the skepticism that can seep into the consciousness, can cloud judgment and foster complacency. It is in these moments of fatigue that vulnerabilities find their opportunity to exploit. The tale of Fakhrizadeh's security mistakes is one defined by the delicate balance between protection and hubris, caution and overconfidence. Ansar al-Mahdi, though dedicated, found their efforts compromised by the interplay of external factors and internal choices. Their mission to safeguard a man of immense importance became a lesson in the perils of underestimating the persistence and resourcefulness of their adversaries. The planning phase commenced in the twilight of 2019 and spilled into the early months of 2020. Israeli officials, including the Mossad director Yossi Cohen, engaged in a series of meetings with high-ranking American counterparts such as President Trump, Secretary of State Pompeo, and CIA Director Haspel. The objective was clear: to thwart Iran's nuclear progress and reimpose strict constraints on its nuclear program. Within these closed-door discussions, a list of potential operations was presented to the Americans. At the pinnacle of this list stood Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, an individual who had been a prime target for Israeli intelligence since 2007. Fakhrizadeh's role in Iran's nuclear program had made him a linchpin in the eyes of those who sought to halt its progression. As the operation took shape, Israeli officials drew from their wealth of experience in covert warfare. Lessons learned from previous assassinations were incorporated into the plan, with a keen awareness of the need for meticulous attention to detail and careful execution. The stakes were high, and failure was not an option. To navigate the complex web of surveillance and countermeasures, the Israeli team employed advanced technologies. The precise monitoring of Fakhrizadeh's movements became paramount. They tracked his every step, studying his routines and seeking vulnerabilities in his security arrangements. In anticipation of Fakhrizadeh's predictable travel patterns, the Israeli team meticulously scouted the routes he frequently traveled. This knowledge allowed them to identify key points where the operation could be executed with minimal risk. The selection of Absard, a bucolic town east of Tehran, as the target location was a calculated decision based on Fakhrizadeh's predictable weekend retreats to his country house. Knowing the Iranian security apparatus was acutely aware of the threat posed by motorcycle attacks, the Israeli team devised a plan that exploited this very awareness. The use of a sniper machine gun concealed within a blue Nissan Zamyad pickup truck created the illusion of a typical Iranian vehicle. The truck was parked along the road connecting Absard to the main highway, strategically positioned for the ambush. To confirm that it was in fact Fakhrizadeh driving the car, another dummy vehicle was stationed up the road loaded with cameras. On the day, it was this observation post which provided positive ID on Mossad's target. To ensure seamless communication and real-time intelligence, the Israeli team utilized a combination of satellite technology and encrypted channels. This allowed for secure coordination between the remote control operator, stationed over 1,000 miles away, and the remote-controlled gun positioned near the target. The centerpiece of this system was a special model of a Belgian-made FN MAG machine gun. Renowned for its reliability and robustness, the FN MAG was chosen for its proven track record in combat scenarios. However, this was no ordinary firearm. It was ingeniously integrated into an advanced robotic apparatus, purpose-built for covert operations. The robot, concealed within the bed of a Zamyad pickup truck, epitomized a seamless blend of form and function. Carefully disguised to resemble a typical Iranian vehicle, it was equipped with multiple cameras positioned to provide a comprehensive view of the target area and its surrounding. These cameras served as the eyes of the remote operator, relaying critical visual information in real time. In the final stages of planning, the Israeli team faced the challenge of achieving accuracy in the operation. The machine gun's recoil and its inevitable shake after each shot required careful calibration. The team addressed this concern by implementing artificial intelligence programming that compensated for the recoil and the speed of Fakhrizadeh's car. The AI became a critical element in guaranteeing precise and controlled firepower. While the operation's success relied on meticulous planning and technological prowess, it also hinged on the element of surprise. The Israeli team understood that timing was of the essence. With the 2015 nuclear agreement hanging by a thread and a potential change in the American administration, their window of opportunity was closing rapidly. The urgency to act before President-elect Joseph Biden's inauguration added an additional layer of pressure to execute the mission swiftly and decisively. The planning phase culminated in the early morning hours of the designated day. Israeli officials provided their American counterparts with a final heads-up, marking the culmination of months of meticulous strategizing and preparations. As the operation was set into motion, the Israeli team relied on their expertise and the synergy between intelligence and precision. Each step was executed with calculated precision, leveraging technological innovations and exploiting the vulnerabilities that emerged from the analysis of Fakhrizadeh's security arrangements. On the day of the operation, in the heart of a secure command center, remote operators monitored the live camera feeds emanating from the Zamyad pickup truck. The room buzzed with a potent mix of anticipation and anxiety as they observed Fakhrizadeh's convoy making its way towards the predetermined location. However, in Iran, the operatives that had set up the ambush were already long gone, having left the country. The Zamyad truck, meticulously positioned on the side of the road connecting Absard to the main highway, concealed its deadly secret beneath a veil of normalcy. Expertly camouflaged, it appeared no different from the countless vehicles passing by. Hidden beneath tarps and decoy construction materials, the 7.62 sniper machine gun lay in wait, ready to fulfill its lethal purpose. As the clock ticked towards 1 p.m., the remote operator received the long-awaited signal. The convoy of 3 vehicles, including Fakhrizadeh, his wife, and the armed security unit was nearing their carefully orchestrated trap. With a heightened sense of focus, the operator maneuvered the robotic apparatus housing the machine gun, ensuring its aim was true and deadly. As the convoy approached, the tension in the command center reached its zenith. With the 3-vehicle convoy coming into the digital crosshairs, the remote operator initiated the sequence, and the machine gun roared to life. Bullets erupted from its barrel, tearing through the air with lethal intent. The precision of the operation was breathtaking as the rounds found their mark, striking Fakhrizadeh's vehicle below the windshield. A total of 15 rounds were fired. Pandemonium erupted. Fakhrizadeh's car swerved violently, coming to an abrupt halt. The sudden stillness that followed was punctuated by the disarray of the aftermath. Fakhrizadeh lay critically wounded, his life hanging in the balance. In the midst of the chaos, his wife, Sadegh Ghassemi, rushed to his side. His wife cradled Fakhrizadeh's head. Her desperate pleas for help filled the air as the protection unit failed to find the source of the ambush. He would pass in her arms. As time went by, it became increasingly apparent that the operation was in fact conducted by a new weapon in the arsenal of targeted assassination. This is probably in no part due to Israel itself, who wants its enemies to know that should they pose a risk to the nation, they will go to any lengths to get them. Rise and strike first.